In this video, you will learn 5 shots every pool player should know and how to play them. So, we need to get from the 1 to the 8 ball. Let's play a center ball first and see what happens. Well, that's no good, so how about we use some follow this time. Follow means we're hitting high and the cue ball wants to go forward, so let's see how the path changes by doing that. Okay, that was at least better, but wouldn't it be nice if we hit the short rail and the cue ball takes this path? Well, we can achieve that by using right spin on the cue ball, because the right spin wants to bring the cue ball closer to the right, meaning to the short rail. And that was a great position and a very important shot you need to know. But what would happen if there was a blocking ball in the way? Should we just use left spin now? Nah, I mean the left spin at least improved the path a bit compared to the center shot, but the problem is the cue ball wants to go forward, so the left spin doesn't really bring the cue ball all the way back. So how about we hit low on the cue ball instead? And you can see with low we're getting closer to the 8 ball once again, but it's not quite enough, so maybe we combine the left spin with the low. Yeah, we're getting closer, but not quite there, so maybe a bit more low and a bit more left spin and we should get to the 8. So remember here, low left or just right spin brings you to the 8 ball. This one is gonna be really interesting. So once again, we want to get from the 1 to the 8 and we start by just playing a center ball. Unfortunately, the center ball once again makes a scratch into the corner pocket, so how about we add some follow to the cue ball once again. Alright, with follow we're getting closer to the 8 ball, but we're still on the wrong side, so what can we change? How about we combine the follow with right spin to straighten the path of the cue ball? Well, that didn't work out at all. So how about we just use follow once again, but just hit harder this time. And this completely messes up the path of the cue ball. So why is that? What is happening here? The problem is the cue ball wants to follow into the direction that you're shooting. So it bounces off the rail, but still wants to keep going into that direction. And this is why the cue ball stays up table now. But we could use that to our advantage by not hitting maximum follow, just a bit, and maybe the cue ball will travel along this path. Almost there, just a bit too soft, so let's try it again and just hit a tiny bit harder. Now we finally got it, but the problem is this is so difficult to judge. So how about we use the same path, but we control the cue ball with low and a touch of left spin. And surprisingly, we're gonna get a very similar path, even though one time we're hitting high on the cue ball and the other time we're hitting low on the cue ball. Isn't that crazy? And if you would ask me what way is the right way to play that shot, I would always say go for the low. It's way more reliable and easier to judge because the high can get completely away from you and it depends a lot on the table conditions as well. This one right here looks easy but is a very important shot. The one ball is hanging inside the pocket, which means we have several ways to play the shot just by changing the contact point on the one ball. You can see it goes if you hit that part of the one ball, it also goes if you hit that part of the one ball, but this will change the cue ball's path. So let's go for that contact point, play a center ball and just see what happens with the cue ball. And unfortunately we scratch once again. So what can we change? Well, what we're gonna do is we're hitting the ball thinner. This means the cue ball will hit a bit more on the right, which means we have a good chance to come all the way down table to the 8 ball. We did forget one thing though, we're hitting thinner. This means there is less momentum given to the one ball. This means the cue ball is traveling faster than before. This means we have to hit softer to make the cue ball stay in our target zone. But what should we do if there are some blocking balls in the way? Well, this time we're gonna hit the one ball fuller again. We're gonna hit a bit of low and right spin and just go that path and bring the cue ball all the way around. But what should we do if that path is also blocked? Well, we have another option. We're gonna hit low and right even more, hit the ball fuller, and just try to draw past that 8 ball. It's a very touchy shot though. You can easily overhit the shot and it can go completely wrong. But we have one more option, which is once again the use of the follow. Remember on the shot before, the follow wants to make the cue ball keep going into the direction that you're shooting to. So we're using that principle to slow the backwards movement of the cue ball down and keep it down there for the 8 ball. It's a very tricky shot to execute, but definitely give it a try. Here unfortunately we are having the wrong angle where the 1 ball is going away from the 8 ball, so let's aim for the center ball once again. And for whatever reason, we once again scratch with the center ball. This was not set up on purpose, this was purely random, but we need to change something. So how about we add some low on the cue ball? Well, with the low we definitely avoid the scratch, but the cue ball is taking a bad path. But did you spot something? What would happen if we're using more low on the cue ball? This is already a very nice path, however it's very difficult to get all the speed into the cue ball. So if we use some right spin, the right spin will make the cue ball gain some speed off the first 2 rails it's hitting. Did you see how the cue ball bounced off the first rail? It really gained some speed because of the spin, and that helps us getting down table. What happens if there is once again a blocker up table? Well, you could play the same shot just with high. Once again, if you want to use a touch of right spin that helps the cue ball gain some speed, because otherwise you need a really high quality follow and some rails are just too slow, so the right spin, the outside spin helps the cue ball to gain some speed. In our final example, we have a tiny bit of an angle on the 1 ball, so let's go for the center ball first. Well, the path looks great, but the cue ball was just too slow because we lost a lot of momentum because we're hitting the 1 ball pretty full. So how about we hit a bit harder? This time the cue ball came all the way down table, but because we were hitting harder, the cue ball didn't have the tiny bit of forwards rotation on it and it changed the path. So how about we use the same speed and just add follow to the cue ball? Well, that was a bit too much follow. Did you see how the cue ball arced off the tangent line? So let's play the same shot with less follow. That was much better, but we could still use a bit less follow and go directly down table, just 1 rail. But of course, the amount of high is very difficult to judge and sometimes there will be blocking balls. So how about we go that path? And we can do that by using low and maybe a touch of right spin if you want to. And sometimes, of course, that path is also blocked. So how about we try to go that path instead by using high on the cue ball? You can see just high doesn't really do the job because we're ending too far up table. So we could use the left spin here to bring the cue ball further down table, because the left spin really opens the angle of that second rail and we get a nice position on that 8 ball. And just one more very important thing besides of course subscribing to this channel is every table plays differently. So you might have to adjust the spin and speed on the table that you're playing compared to mine.